Update: I feel like my life is shattering following my sudden inheritance. Original post. Where do I even begin? I'm so lost right now I don't even know how to put things into words or find a good starting point. I, 30 male, guess it goes with how 2 months ago, my life was exactly where I wanted it to be. I've been with the girl of my dreams, 27 female, for the last 3.5 years. We have a house, animals, both of our families get along beautifully. And honestly, the last 3 years with her and my family and her family around the holidays have been some of the most warm fuzzy memories I've had in my entire life. And believe me, I've been thinking about those times a lot lately. So like I said, this problem is going to come in parts, because my entire life feels like it is on the brink of completely falling apart. My mother was a very wealthy woman. Most of my life, she and I did not get along very well, but I started working in the family business roughly 5 years ago, and since then, we've actually developed a great relationship. It was one of those things where after many years of feeling that my mother hated me, she was at last proud of me and not afraid to say she loved me and valued me. Then last month in mid-March, she passed away. I'm tearing up thinking about this as I type, because I've always felt that despite her resentment towards me in my early years, I loved my mother more than anyone else in this world. I won't say much more than that. She had a hard life in spite of her wealth, and I feel I could write a whole book on our relationship. Anyway, she is gone, and my siblings and I are now extremely wealthy and have taken possession of the business and all of her investments and property. If that isn't scary enough, I'm having a hard time figuring out what I need to do next. The business I was associated with, I can handle, and my siblings and I have really come together on this, and they seem to trust me with that part of it. But it doesn't wash away the hurt and guilt I feel that I only got a few good years with the woman who gave me life. Anyway, my plan is to marry my girlfriend by next year, and we've already discussed the prenup situation, which I will be getting, due to my newfound wealth. She has been nothing but wonderful after my mom's death, but the problems come in her family. I won't go into much detail, but I love these people like an extension of my own family. But they have already started trying to pry exactly how wealthy I am out of my girlfriend. Her mom has always had a gravitational pull towards, for lack of a better term, pyramid schemes. Her first sibling Terry just got married and is working a fast food job. Terry and his wife have decided they will be starting a family soon and stated that they want his wife to be a stay-at-home mom. This talk has only recently popped up and been brought to my attention, and I feel like I'm being paranoid that it's been directed at me, as there is absolutely no way they'd be able to afford this on the money they currently make, or even while living in their small apartment. Like they are expecting me to help them out in a situation they are wholly unable to handle right now. Sibling number 2, Leslie, has run into some pretty serious legal trouble and is also pregnant by someone who has a history of abuse and neither have steady incomes. They have recently come back into our lives after a 4-year-long absence between girlfriend and Leslie. Though prior to this, the two have always been extremely close, as girlfriend is with all of her siblings, as throughout their childhood, a lot of the time all they had was each other. Sibling number 3, Casey, who I hardly ever speak to, has even started chatting me up on Facebook more than she ever has in the entire time I've known her. Is this just my brain devolving into paranoia, or is this actually happening? Like the lottery horror stories you hear, where people come out of the woodwork with their hands out when they smell money on someone they know. I know for a fact my mother, for all of her faults, fell victim to this when she inherited this money. She became increasingly bitter throughout her life, due to all of the husbands and friends that took advantage of her for what she could do for them. She drank herself stupid every day for 30+ years, and moved through carton after carton of cigarettes, and alienated her own children. I don't want to be like that. I don't want that to happen. It's been less than a month that I've had more money than I know what to do with, and I'm afraid to spend a dime or do anything with it, because I feel like my girlfriend's family is only the beginning. What's worse, and will probably make me look like a total POS, is my girlfriend has already committed to helping Leslie. They were close their whole lives, and with all of the legal trouble and pregnancy, girlfriend cries at night thinking about what's happening to her. She has not asked me to help financially or anything, but I have been there every step of the way to help support them and her as best as I can. But how will it look when my girlfriend starts giving out her money to people while I don't, and get viewed as a selfish Scrooge? All of this is too much. The last 3 years were just so wonderful. So many magic trips to the beach, wonderful holidays surrounded by not one, but 2 families, full of great people that accepted and loved me. And now it seems like, because I lost my mother and am getting a windfall because of it, everything is changing. I don't get to be happy with family anymore, and my whole life is crashing because of this. I know this is so far beyond a first world problem. Poor baby is now a multimillionaire and is a little sad he can't have a happy Christmas wah-wah. But I feel so broken. I miss my mom, I don't sleep at all, I hardly eat, and despite knowing full well the path my mother went down, I've been drinking a bit and smoking weed more than I ever had, on a daily basis in fact. My siblings seem to be coping just fine, and now I feel like everyone is out to get me. Even my girlfriend is getting a little tired of hearing me voice my concerns over girlfriend's siblings 1 to 3 and her mom's sudden extra interest in me, which is understandable, they are all very close and take up for one another. Now I'm even doubting myself and thinking it's all in my head. Maybe too many times, my mother drunkenly telling me about all the times she trusted people and was let down. I'm just so lost. Opie, I can sympathize. When I was 23, I came into a good deal of money. Nothing like what you described, but a healthy amount that could have set my retirement for life had I been smart. I didn't inherit or win it, I got it because of a car accident settlement. But that didn't stop all the people coming out of the woodwork with their hands out. I lost friends. My best friend thought I should buy her mom a house, because when we were 16, we both said that's what we'd do if either of us won the lottery. When I refused, she got angry, and we aren't friends anymore. In the end, I lost my money because I usually couldn't say no to all the emergencies my friends and family had. I have horrible medical problems and terrible insurance. That money was supposed to be there for that. And when the handout stopped, I lost people. And the money is gone too. Don't be me. I'm sorry to hear that. You had the best intentions and got used for your kindness. There is a post somewhere about a young homeless guy who won the lottery. His family had kicked him out at 16, I think, and he'd been homeless since then. No one had bothered to stay in touch with him, but as soon as they heard about his win, they found ways to contact him. All sorts of emergencies and medical expenses and stuff sprung up. Opie is justified in being wary here. Opie's girlfriend's family is hopefully not that bad, but it sounds like a bunch of them are prone to making bad choices, and the rest of the family will probably be expected to step up and help them. Ask your girlfriend not to talk to her family anymore about your finances. When any of them try to bring it up, change the subject, or tell them that you are still grieving for your mother and can't talk about it. You don't owe these people anything, and as for your girlfriend, if you see that she's starting to give more than she can afford to Leslie, ask her to sit down with you and talk about the shared household budget. And ask her to look realistically at how much help she can give while remaining solvent. As long as your girlfriend isn't changing, and the issue with Leslie seems to be mostly about the kid on the way, which would have happened even without the inheritance. The rest of her family can't do anything to you unless you let them, and it looks like you won't fall for that. Good luck to the two of you, and condolences. First update. First, I just want to say wow. This whole thing blew and has made me feel much better about the whole situation. Thank you everyone for your understanding, condolences, and advice. I read the lottery winning thread many of you linked to, and while I'm not currently $300 million richer, I will look into a smaller scale version of all of the things you offered up. I'm not sure if it's worth writing a whole update, but last night I called my sister and drove an hour to her house and stayed the night with her, her husband, and my nieces and nephew. Over some beers, she and I started talking about the whole situation. Oddly enough, it's the first time we've really talked about anything alone without attorneys or my other siblings around since my mother died. Side note, she passed away on March 8th, and I know there was at least one comment that said this seemed like everything was moving too fast. Anyway, it turns out she isn't as together about everything as I thought she was. I showed her the thread and all of the replies, and both she and I agreed to talk to a financial advisor and look into getting attorneys to help us with this. She had been primarily working with my mom's attorney up until now. I'm going to look into setting up a trust as well. Nothing too crazy, but enough that I can give small gifts to these people and have a cap on it, so to speak, for whenever it does come up. I then talked to my girlfriend on the phone this morning and kind of laid it all out, and she was in total agreement. She said she was surprised Casey has suddenly started talking to me and that it was very suspicious. She also said that Terry's wife brought up the kids again and was showing her houses they wanted to get that were way out of their price range. And my girlfriend kind of just played dumb and kept asking questions about how they plan to afford all that. So I know she and I are, for now at least, on the same page. Lastly, when I was talking to my sister last night, she said something that both uplifted and destroyed me. We were talking about our mom and what a hard-nosed she was, and my sister said that one of the last conversations she had with our mom My mother said, "You and your other brother should trust Opie. He knows what he's doing, and he will make sure everyone is okay." Anyway, thank you all again for all of your comments. I feel like a better and stronger person just one day later. I think you're making the best decision. People are absolute vultures if you allow them to be, so you must protect yourself. I'm glad your girlfriend is on board with you. That's a great aspect of this. Because if she hadn't been, this could have been way more complicated. Again, I'm sorry about your mother. It sounds like she truly loved you and your sister greatly. People show love in different ways. Good luck with everything. She has been nothing but wonderful and supportive throughout all of this. 100% the woman of my dreams. We started talking today about going away for a long vacation at some point when everything settles down. I think we need it. And you're spot on about my mom. She was a hard lady to know, and I wish we had more good years together, but I'm so grateful for the 5 or so years we had, which I know most people don't ever get. I'm in your shoes. My grandparents were wealthy and no one knew. I'm glad you're getting a trust. You must have that, and a financial advisor is a must. Do your research on the financial advisor. I would really try to keep low-key around friends. On gifts, I don't do it. People will take advantage and come back for more. I would get books by Dave Ramsey on how to best handle your wealth. And on a personal note, I hate it when people say you're lucky. A loved one had to die to get that money. I didn't win the lottery, and I still work 68 to 72 hours a week and like what I do. Anyone who expects a gift because your mom died is not right mentally. Yes, they are. But you would be shocked at how many people act that way when it comes down to it. I received a relatively tiny inheritance once compared to Opie. Like just enough to pay off my small student loans, which was a wonderful gift. And I got so many people telling me you're so lucky. Yep, half of my family died in horrific pain, totally worth the trade-off of a few $1,000s. Second update 7 years later. To start, I just recovered my account after many years, and seeing the r/best of Reddit post, I saw so many kind PMs that it really did make my heart full. Really, thank you everyone. I can't describe to you what it feels like. I lost my mom 7 years ago, and honestly, some days it doesn't feel like it has gotten any better. That life would still be better if she was here, or had a chance to build a better relationship. So, where do I begin from so long ago? So in an attempt to pick up where this post left off, my mom has just died and I was settled with a whole lot of first world problems. The good? I managed to invest in crypto with a large chunk of my money, and by some miracle entirely out of my know-how and against the advice of my former financial advisor, I bought low and sold high years later. This made me the wealthiest of my siblings by far. My sisters and my relationship has grown thick as thieves. We sold our mom's company despite some complications and went in on a number of real estate investments together. And it has worked out very well in spite of the pandemic. She is my very best friend in this world and my constant protector as my big sister, and all of her kids will get everything I have when all is said and done. The not so good, I am divorced. The girlfriend in the previous post and I did end up getting married, no expense spared. And despite all of the Reddit warning I received, I spread the wealth amongst her family. It turns out, however, that she was not who I thought she was, and I was not who she thought I was. She decided to attract a boyfriend during our marriage, and she paid for their outings through my account. To say I hit a low would be an understatement. However, I am still good friends with my brother-in-law, and he has shown nothing but gratitude for my helping his growing family in the ensuing years. I love him, and I hope to keep him close for the rest of my life. Otherwise, I traveled and did too many drugs and became an alcoholic. Yep, just like my mother. However, unlike my mother, this is something I'm actively working on. Also, during the grieving period of my mother's death, I was sued by my stepfather as he contested the will, and my brother sided with him. So for what felt like an eternity, I was fighting against my brother and stepfather, footing ridiculous legal bills, and drinking like they were about to make it illegal. Eventually, thank the gods of old, they lost, and I was suddenly quite single against my will, but had quite a bit of wealth. However, after all of the legal problems thanks to my incredible attorneys during my divorce and being sued, I bought a motorcycle and a la my hero Neil Peart, traveled North and South America. I saw so much and wrote about all of it, but also picked up a pretty terrible drinking habit along the way and when I returned home. Something with which I am still struggling as I type this. I haven't spoken to my brother for almost 4 years, which crushes me every day of my life. I miss him so much, but I just can't seem to get through to him or my stepfather, who I also love very much. and that I would give them most of what they want money-wise, but they have since become evangelical Christians, whole other can of worms, and what I'm willing to do is suddenly not enough. I'm also paying for my ex-wife's expenses, because frankly, I loved her, and I thought she loved me. Money doesn't mean much anymore to me, and some days it feels like that is all I'm good for. I want her to be happy despite all of the heartache and pain. It was both of us. I see that now, despite her stepping out. That being said, I have been involved with a young lady for the past few years who has her own career, and she is beautiful and makes me feel like a good person when I'm with her. I'm taking it slow, but she is frankly out of this world incredible. If marriage ever exists in my future again, it will be with her. I visit my mom's grave often, in quotes because she was cremated and her ashes spread along her favorite coastline, and it's always hard. I often ask her if she was proud of me and if I'm on the right path, usually having brought a few bottles of her favorite wine with me. And I know I'm not, as I only hear the ocean breeze in response. Every year, it's the hardest thing I have to do, without the worry of how I'm going to pay my bills. It's a grand privilege, I know, but I miss her. We had so many hard years, so many arguments and fights. She told me more than once that she loved me only because she had to, but was disgusted by me otherwise. Still, I really felt towards the end that she felt some sense of pride in me. Like I had finally done something worth remembering with her business, only for her to up and die. Do I feel alone still? Yes, absolutely. As a person, I sometimes feel I do not have any worth whatsoever but the money I can offer. I guess that is the monkey's paw part of this whole thing. I have 7 total good friends I journaled and counted during my motorcycle odyssey, for which I am grateful. One of them is my sister, and I am so grateful to share DNA with such a wonderful human being. In the process, I have lost my only father figure and my baby brother who sided with him, and my wife who I thought was my great love. I'm older now and getting older. Still, I have the 7 and my new lady, and I feel enough from that to push forward day to day. I know this is probably not the happy ending people wanted, but if I've taken anything away from this, things aren't clean. They are always messy and complicated. Humans are hard. I have a few houses, which is a great privilege, but I have lost a lot of the human connection of which I was worried about during my original post. Self-fulfilling prophecy, maybe? I often think about those beach vacations or cozy holidays filled with so much love and acceptance and warmth from so long ago that I cry. It still breaks my heart knowing those days are behind me. I miss them so much, but also know that I can never get that back, and my only hope exists in the road in front of me. I know my life changed completely the day my mother died, and I lost a great deal in the years after, but I still have years ahead. In conclusion, I guess my original problem from so many years ago is solved, but I have a lot more life left to live, hopefully. Finally, and most importantly, thank you all for the extraordinarily kind words and messages and the repost in this sub. I suppose that is the end, for now.